What if age didn't matter? What if the best moments in life were waiting just outside your comfort zone, no matter how old you are? That's exactly what I found out the day I made a joke on my TikTok, never expecting her to take it seriously. I said it with a laugh, half teasing, half dreaming. If only you were my age, we'd hit the open road. She paused. Then she looked at me, eyes lit up, and said, "Age is overrated. Let's just go." At first, I thought she was kidding, but there was something in her voice. Something daring. Something honest. That one sentence flipped everything. We were strangers only days ago. Two people from completely different worlds. Different years. Different rhythms. But in that moment, we both felt it. The pull of something bigger. The road. The unknown. The freedom of letting go of what's expected. It wasn't about romance. It wasn't about rebellion. It was about doing something that felt real. Something people always talk about, but never actually do. The kind of thing you regret not trying when you look back. And maybe, just maybe, that was the moment everything changed. Because sometimes, all it takes is one unexpected yes. We met at a bookstore, not the kind of place you'd expect something wild to begin. I was browsing travel guides I'd never use, and she was flipping through a book on philosophy. She asked if I'd ever actually been to any of the places in my hands. I laughed, said no, and told her I liked pretending I might. She smiled like she understood. We started talking. Nothing deep at first, just music, places we liked, things we wished we'd done. She was younger, not by a little either, but she didn't act it. She listened. She asked smart questions. She had stories that felt older than her years. And I found myself leaning in, wanting more. One afternoon, we ended up at the same cafe, not planned. We sat together, talked for hours. Time felt strange, like it wasn't moving. We joked a lot. I said she reminded me of someone I would have met in my 20s. Adventurous, restless, a little reckless. That's when I joked about the road trip. That's when she didn't laugh it off. She looked at me like she already knew the answer, like the idea wasn't crazy. And that's when I started wondering, what if she actually meant it? I didn't sleep much that night. Her words kept looping in my head. Let's just go. At first, I told myself it was just talk. A moment, a joke that got out of hand. But then she messaged me. No small talk. Just, still want to hit the road? I stared at the screen for a long time. My heart said yes. My head started listing reasons to say no: work, bills, age. But none of it felt real compared to the thought of driving off with her, chasing something we couldn't quite name. By the next evening, we were both packing bags. Light stuff. No plans. No hotel bookings. Just a rough idea. Follow the coast. Stop when we feel like it. Eat where the locals eat. Talk to strangers. Listen to music loud with the windows down. It felt impossible. But it also felt like the only thing that made sense. She showed up wearing sunglasses and a crooked smile. Threw her bag in the back. "You ready?" she asked. I nodded, not even sure what I was agreeing to. Then she said it again, calmer. This time, "Let's just go." And somehow, those 3 words felt like freedom. We hit the road just before sunrise. The streets were still empty, the city half asleep. There was no big moment, no dramatic goodbye, just the sound of tires rolling forward and the quiet buzz of something new beginning. She played music I'd never heard before, some indie band with lyrics that felt like they were written for us. I didn't say much. I just drove, watching her tap the dashboard in rhythm, hair blowing in the breeze. The first stop was a gas station on the edge of town. We grabbed bad coffee and a bag of snacks. She laughed at the choices I made, and I laughed at how easily she made everything fun. Hours passed like a minute. The road opened up. Fields turned to hills. then to cliffs. We didn't care where we were headed. That was the point. Somewhere along the coast, we pulled over. There was no one around, just the sound of waves and a sky too big to describe. We sat on the hood of the car, saying nothing for a while. It didn't feel awkward. It felt right, like we were exactly where we were supposed to be, even if we had no idea where we were going next. Not every moment was perfect. The second day, the GPS froze in the middle of nowhere. We took a wrong turn and ended up on a dirt road with no signal. The sun was setting and the tank was nearly empty. I felt the tension rise in my chest, but she didn't panic. She laughed, said it felt like a scene from a movie. I didn't find it funny at first, but then I looked at her, feet on the dashboard, still smiling, and I realized she wasn't worried. She was living. We eventually found a small diner by chance, the kind of place where the waitress knows everyone's name. They let us charge our phones, gave us directions, and even wrapped up some pie for the road. That night, we parked at a rest stop and watched the stars through the windshield. She talked about the life she wanted, not a career, not money, just peace, moments that felt real. I listened, realizing how different we were and how much I needed to hear every word. Sometimes we argued, small things, music, directions, where to sleep, but every disagreement ended in laughter. Like we both knew this trip wasn't about being right. It was about being free. By the fourth day, something shifted. The miles behind us felt heavier than the ones ahead. We weren't just passing places anymore. We were collecting memories. Tiny moments that didn't seem big until we looked back. Like the time she danced barefoot on the beach while I sat on a log, pretending not to care. Or when we found an old record shop in a forgotten town, and she made me buy a vinyl I didn't even own a player for. She said, "Some things you keep just to remember how they felt." I started noticing things I hadn't before. The way she hummed when she was thinking. How she always ordered something new, just to try it. How she made conversations with strangers feel like reunions. She wasn't just along for the ride, she was the ride. And without even meaning to, she was teaching me how to live again. There was one night, deep in the mountains, when we camped by a lake. No lights, no noise, just us and the stars. She asked, "What would you have done if we never met?" I didn't answer. I didn't know how, because everything before her suddenly felt quiet, and everything after still unwritten. We didn't talk much about what would happen when the trip ended, maybe because neither of us wanted to break the spell. The road stretched on, and with every turn, the world felt bigger and our worries smaller. I watched her laugh at things that didn't make sense, and I realized how much I had missed that. Pure, unfiltered joy. There were moments of silence too, not uncomfortable, but full of thoughts we didn't need to say aloud. She looked at me once and said, "Age is just a story we tell ourselves." At first, I wasn't sure what she meant, but then I saw it. How we were living proof. Two people from different times caught in the same moment, refusing to let a number define what we could do. We drove until the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with colors I'd never seen before. The car was filled with music, stories, and dreams we hadn't dared to speak before. Somewhere along the way, the idea of who we were before didn't seem to matter. What mattered was what we chose to do now, together.